I'm at the Jingle Bells.
Good morning.
Put it over
We
there.
are going to open with a
On the
congregational song. In the pink book, page 62, The Whole Wide World Around. Please stand as you're willing and able.
Give you a second. I picked two songs with the melodies by famous classical composers, which helps out to remember how it goes. So this one, it's by Bach, and let's see how this starts. Because we live together, wherever we may be, one spirit shall unite us forever, proud and free. No tyrant shall defeat us, no evil strike us down. All those who toss shall greet us, the whole wide world around. My neighbors are all others, forever hand in hand. Wherever people suffer, there is my native land. My neighbors are fierce, red, yellow, white, and brown. My neighbors' tears are my tears, the whole wide world around. Let every voice be thunder, let every heart be strong, until all tyrants perish, our work shall not be done. Let everything be token, the lost here shall be found. Let slavery's chain be broken, the whole wide world around.
Welcome to the First Existentialist Congregation of Atlanta. We are a spiritual community, philosophically based on existentialist and feminist principles. In the old stone church, we make our spiritual home. It was hand-built by the African-American Antioch East Baptist Church. We acknowledge that racial hostility drove those African-Americans from the area, and we honor them and the powerful history of this place. We also acknowledge that in the 1800s, the Muskogee Creek people were driven from this land, and we support justice for all indigenous people. Our opening words are by Mary Oliver. The sun. Have you ever seen anything in your life more wonderful than the way the sun, every evening, relaxed and easy, floats toward the horizon and into the clouds or the hills or the rumpled sea and is gone? And how it slides again out of the blackness every morning on the other side of the world like a red flower streaming upward on its heavenly oils, say, or a morning in early summer at its perfect imperial distance. And have you ever felt for anything such wild love Do you think there is anywhere in any language a word billowing enough for the pleasure that fills you as the sun reaches out, as it warms you, as you stand there empty-handed? Or have you too turned from this world? Or have you too gone crazy for power or things? Is there anyone here who is here for the first time who would like to introduce themselves, or someone who hasn't been here for a while? If you can raise your hand, I'll call on you. Yes. Welcome, Jacqueline. Anyone else? Yes.
I'm Kodac Harrison. I'm here to speak. Glad to be here.
Welcome, Kodac. All right. Does anyone have a birthday or an anniversary? Anything? Yes, Jan, come on up. Birthday?
Actually, it's Christmas Eve, but I won't be here next Sunday, so.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Happy birthday to Jan.
Birthday, so I bought myself new jeans, a new sweater, new socks, and these fabulous new shoes.
I love those shoes.
I saw something similar on Jojo Rabbit and just, influenced by that.
Okay, we're going to have another congregational song.
Okay.
And Craig Marcus is our musician, our acknowledged musician of the day. And he is joined by Bill Fleming, which is kind of a surprise.
I'm paying him big bucks to show up.
Right?
So I can get new shoes.
So on page 83, not in vain, the distance beckons, and Craig told me that this is from a Tennyson poem. So please stand as you're willing and able.
I want to tell you, one of the reasons I chose this today was that Stell Simonton gave me this book to read recently that talked about this poem, and so rummaging through the book, and I went, wow, and I think it fits with our theme in some way today too. So, music by Beethoven. Chorus, right?
Not in vain the distance beckons, forward, forward, let us range. Let the framework spin forever down the ringing roots of change, through the shadow of the glory, sweep ahead to heights sublime. We the heirs of all the ages, in the foremost part of time. Oh, we see the crescent promise of the Spirit as not set, ancient founts of inspiration, well through all our fancy yet, and we doubt not through the ages, wandering, increasing, permanent one, and the loss of all are widened with the prospect of the sun. Yet we dip into the For as human eye can see the vision of the world and all the wonder that shall be. Hear the war drum throb no longer, see the battle flags all furled in the heart of many a people, bringing hope to all the world.
Isn't that lovely?
How beautiful to have words to a tune that's familiar to many of us. If anyone has any community announcements, you can bring them up to me at any time during the service, and I will read them at the end. We are going to have a few words now from our fellowship minister, Marcia Mishner.
Good morning, everyone. It's a chilly December day and here in hot Atlanta. So glad you came out to be with us. And I hope that you remember today's the final day that we have for bringing in donations for us for our holiday giving. And if you didn't have a chance to pick up something and you still want to do, you can write a check out to the Atlanta Community Food Bank and put that in the collection plate, and we'll be bumping all those up together and taking them over to the food bank. So I hope that you are able to breathe and to take in what's good about this season. There's so much that is commercialized, and there's so much going on that doesn't feel good. So I hope that you will take a few minutes to just breathe and to think about, what does this season, mean to you personally, and to hopefully be able to put your energy into that goodness, that energizing spirit for the season. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Marcia. We're going to take about 5 minutes of silence. You can meditate, pray, cogitate, and I will let you know when the 5 minutes is up. We're going to have another congregational song, page 116, Live and Let Us Be, by our own Janet Nelson.
Yeah, I was delighted to find this in here. I used to play this with Jen and Scott. I was in this band with the Muggles a long time ago. We played this song. And pretty much I remember how it goes. It might be the melody might get a little vague here in the verses, but you can just sing a note or shout it out. It's been said that love is blind, like that. It's been said that love is blind. It's been said that love is blind. But with time I'm beginning to find the more I love, the better I see.
eyes love, and we come shot to seas beyond. Walls of frustration, walls of defeat. In your boundless garden of peace, you are a garden so sweet. It's been said that love is blind. It's been said that love is blind. But with time I'm beginning to find the more I love, the better I see. Just wanna live and learn to let be. Just wanna live and learn to let be. Sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's impossible to live in a world so despairing, so cold. Little children dying, their bellies crying. Tell them around. Spread the wealth, yes, spread it around. It's been said that love is blind. It's been said that love is blind. But with time I'm beginning to find the more I love, the better I see. Just wanna live and learn to let be. Just wanna learn to live and let be. The wind's my sister, the rain's my brother, the sky my father, the earth my mother. Hold us, rock us in your embrace. Teach us to hate and use of your grace. Teach us to make the use of your grace. It's been said that love is blind. It's been said that love is blind. But with time I'm beginning to find the more I love, the better I see. Just wanna live and learn to let be. Just wanna learn to live and let be. Victoria's A major chord at the end. I should have called Janet off and had her sing it.
Okay, we're gonna take some time for people.
So, and it really apropos that it's his birthday today, right? So, Andy says he would like to get this into the new songbook, so we're making a pitch for that. And you want to say stuff, Bill?
Yeah, I would like to say that I really appreciate Catrice referencing Lanier, and his impact on this community cannot be overestimated in my estimation. And so yeah, this song is called Let It Rock. And it's distillations of Lanier's sermons, and not so much his sermons, but these pithy phrases that he somehow manages to turn, with us, that have stayed with me for what now, 40 years, Gene?
Yeah.
40, 50 years, So Lanier is still very much with us, and we celebrate him in this song.
Let it roll. I say we study, walk no more. find. Let it rock, let it roll. I say the study want no more. I say let's give peace a chance. Let it rock, I wanna dance. Come on, Fred. Fingers slow, right? You don't need to take first place or even need to run the race. The shortest way between the two, that may not be the way for you. Let it rock, let it roll. I say study for no more. I say let's give peace a chance. Let it rock, I wanna dance.
That's the most people we've had dancing any time that song's been played. So thank you. So the mirror always used to say, and this is a quote from Emma Goldman actually, but he carried it on. If I can't dance, I don't want to be part of your revolution.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's great to see dancing in a church without any snake handling or speaking in tongues. That was Bill Fleming and Craig Rossred. Give them a hand. I'm sorry, Refuge, Craig Refuge. That's the wrong word. Today we are welcoming Kodac Harrison to speak on refugees in our world. Kodac is a musician and a poet. He has 19 albums and a book of poetry and lyrics called The Turtle and the Moon. He founded and ran Java Monkey Speaks open mic night in Decatur, Georgia for 18 years, out of which came 5 poetry anthologies. He served as the visiting McEver Chair of Poetry at Georgia Tech in 2010 and 2016. Although Kodac grew up in Jackson, Georgia and graduated from Georgia Tech, he's also done his fair share of traveling. He has played gigs throughout the U.S. as well as in Europe. He considers his heart to be a vagabond and he follows it wherever he leads. Please join me in welcoming Kodac Harrison.
I think my voice will carry it. So I'll just, won't use the microphone. And that way it gives me a little more room to move around. And plus, the handheld microphone, you probably noticed I have a trimmer. So this hand doesn't really work. And if I'm going to read something, which I'm going to do, it wouldn't work. Anyway, I'm going to talk about refugees. I've been thinking a lot about refugees these days because of the situation on the border, because of Syria, because of Ukraine, and then refugees are people who are seeking refuge, obviously, from something. Refugees are created by war, famine, persecutions, and we've got a new source now, climate change. And I think there's going to be more and more refugees as a result of that. And I think we need to figure out a humane way to deal with the situation. On the border, we have certain people in our Congress who seem to use it as a, what's the word, false flag operation. Not exactly, but some similar. In other words, they don't do anything about it, but they use it as a source of fear and blame and just to get votes somehow. But yet they don't do a thing about it. They just criticize.
Right.
And once again, I've been thinking a lot about refugees, so I decided, I'd go through my work and see what I could find that dealt with the subject. And I found 3 poems that I'm going to read that deal with refugees in one way or another. So let me pull those out here. And the first one, I made 8 tours of Europe. And this came as a result of my very first tour in 1999 in March. And I was traveling from France into Germany, and we picked up a French newspaper. Couldn't read it, but I could read the photographs on the front page. I got to Germany, and a couple of German engineers who spoke excellent English explained the situation, that there was a genocide going on down in Kosovo, and they were trying to stop it. So I wrote this poem called The Language of the Blues. I'm sure most of you from the introduction know that I am a musician, and like most people in my generation, my roots are in blues, and I just add that because the title of this song is, this poem is, The Language of the Blues. I am an American, outside of Berlin. I sing and play my guitar, the audience applauds. The language is the blues. Everyone understands. While just a couple of days drive south, the campaign is started. The bombs are falling on the front page. You can see it in the photographs, in the eyes of the refugees. It's the language everybody understands. The hopelessness, the fear, the terror, the anger, the constant tension. The language of the blues. For those who've lost more than they had to lose. I tried to understand why a man hates another man he doesn't even know. The roots of hatred run deep. We have to stop the hate. And only love kills hate. Tough love. So a few years later, in 2018, during the former president's term, I was reading a novel by a German author called All for Nothing, and it was set in 1945, and it kind of correlated with me because at the time I was thinking, we're kind of going backwards. And was it all for nothing, the progress that we've made? And so the book it resonated with me. And so I wrote this poem. This is long before the Ukraine situation. But the title of the poem is Russians Are Coming. I read Walter Kempowski's novel, All for Nothing, set in the winter of 1945, when close to 1 million German refugees fled the approaching Russians. Millions of Russians had died in World War II. More than 6 million Jews were exterminated. Invading Germans had created millions of refugees. And in 1945, they were paying the price. Recently, Germany has taken in more refugees than any other country in Europe, a price they're still paying or a lesson learned. Hitler blamed the Jews. Now leaders blame refugees and divide us one from the other. No longer are the huddled masses welcome. No longer is America the hope for the world. Acting like Nazis, separating families, refugees are treated as subhumans. Hitler is no longer with us, but new Hitlers come and go. Long after the current Hitlers are gone, there will be a price to pay. When truth is in the eye of the beholder and all news is fake, when our coastal cities are flooded and the air is too hot to breathe, when democracy is destroyed and our nation is divided beyond repair, will we nothing?
Yeah.
For surely the Russians are coming. The Russians are coming. I've spent a lot of time in Germany, like I said, and I didn't necessarily want to go there initially. I wanted to go to Paris and Amsterdam, etc. But I had a really good gig, so I went into Germany to play that. It turned out to be great, and I met a lot of wonderful people there. And I'm really impressed with how far they've come in such a short period of time. From being a Nazi state to being one of the world's leading democracies in a very short period of time. Now, we don't have such great history here in the South either. And it's taken us a lot longer because you've got to recognize the past before you can move into the future. And you won't find military bases named for Nazi generals in Germany. You won't find monuments to the Nazi era. In fact, the swastika is banned. I like to, I'll tell that story in a minute, but another German story. But I want to get back to refugees and the fact that they are seeking refuge and coming from a bad situation. In most cases, they had to leave everything behind and maybe cross a desert or the Mediterranean or an ocean or something and leave everything behind to seek refuge. And I think they deserve sympathy in that regard. So I wrote this piece more recently, 2012. It's a song, actually. It's not a poem, but find it here. It's called No Wall Gonna Stop Us. Yesterday is too far away and tomorrow never comes. We're stuck here today, nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. We walked across this desert with no money for a ride. Now we're facing this wall, you and me, side by side. And there's no moving forward, there's no going back. It's hard to keep the faith when all you got is on your back. But we got each other, that's all we need. That's what we share, nothing else is guaranteed. Safety for our children, that's all we hope to find. Staying was not an option, we left everything behind. We left everything behind. Over, under, around and through, got to get across somehow. We've come too far, we can't stop now. Can't give up our dreams, dreams born in sorrow, death, and destruction. Couldn't wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. No wall gonna stop us. Together, side by side, no wall gonna stop us this time.
Wow.
The next poem I'm going to read from my book, The Turtle and the Moon. I take the turtle as my spirit animal. And I always, as a kid, loved that story about the tortoise and the hare, you know. Just keep at it, you're going to win the race, you know. And I started kind of late in my endeavors, and I've always reflected back on that story as something you just got to keep doing it. Just keep doing it, you'll get there. Like I said, this one is not particularly about refugees. This is another wall poem. I wrote this while I was in Germany after the Berlin Wall came down. And I had been to playing in Berlin, and I was traveling up with a host up through former East Germany into northeast Germany. And we went through this little village, and my host said, this is a very conservative village. And I thought, well, that's interesting. And there in the middle of that village was a Confederate battle flag flying. And my host said, well, the swastika is outlawed, so this is the substitute. And at that point in time, we were having a debate back here in Georgia about the state flag. And I was saying, well, I know exactly where I fall on that, in that discussion. And I'm glad that we did take it out. I read in the paper today that Decatur was changing the name of the Mary Gay House, who was a Confederate heroine who championed slavery and all that, changing the name. And I think, well, it's about time. But anyway, this particular poem is not one I've ever performed in Germany because I don't feel like I have that I shouldn't be preaching to Germans when we have such a situation here in the South. So I feel like it is a little preachy, so therefore I've never performed it there, but I'm going to read it for you. Well, anyway, I'll just read the poem. Oh, I know what I want to say. There are a couple of there's a German phrase in here, Achtung bitte. If you've ever been in an airport in Germany, you've heard that a lot. It means attention, please. You know. The New Berlin. There's a place where East meets West and love meets hate. At a wall built like a line drawn in the sand. A place where ideologies collide and the future hesitates. But the wall no longer stands. The future left the past behind at the crossroads of the millennium. And love finally conquers hate in a dream of the New Berlin. Now it's love that leads us to the New Berlin. Our hearts know the way. Though the odds are against us, we take a stand and never regret the day. We stop repeating the mistakes of the past and join together hand in hand. There's no room for hate in the New Berlin. It's the gateway to the promised land. This time, let love lead the way to the New Berlin. Achtung, bitte. This time, let love lead the way. Achtung, bitte. Close out by saying how much I appreciate this opportunity. I grew up in a church. My family was very religious, and I got a pin for going to church, Sunday school like 12 years in a row without missing. We go on vacation, and they put me in a Sunday school class somewhere. And I haven't been to church a whole lot since then. When I asked Greg what I should wear, you know, when I used to go to church, we all dressed up, and I knew this was not your regular church, or whatever you call it. So I thought I'd kind of split the difference, and my wife had given me this Jackson Pollock tie. And I don't get to wear it very often, so this gives me an opportunity. I have had the privilege of performing for weddings and also for funerals in church. And I appreciate those opportunities. I'd rather do weddings. But I'm honored to do both. And once again, I'm honored to be invited to speak to you folks. There's a quote that I love. It's a quote by Christopher Columbus. Now, it depends, I don't care how you feel about Christopher, I just like the quote. And I'm not, who knows if he said it or not. But the quote is, life has more imagination than we carry in our dreams. I never dreamed I'd be speaking at a church service at 11 o'clock. And there's a lot of other things in my life that I never would have dreamed of. So this is one more I can check off the list. So once again, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate being here. And I hope I said something that you will take some kind of something from. But anyway, once again, thank you very much.
you. Thank you, Kodac. Could you tell us where we can buy your books? Your book?
I've got some in the car.
Okay, if you want to run out, at the end of the service and bring them in, you can certainly sell them.
I can do that.
That would be great, yeah.
And I think you can find them, they used to have them over here at, what's the bookstore?
Acapella?
Acapella?
Yeah. I'm not sure if I still have it. It's been out a while, so, but
Okay,
I've got some with me.
okay, that'd be great. We have our closing congregational song, and it is in the new book, which is in the hard spiral book. All the songs are alphabetical, and we are going to be singing Come and Go With Me. So if you could stand as you're willing and able.
Come and go with me.
Yes. Go like it. Come go with me to that land. Come go with me to that land. Come go with me to that land where I'm bound. Come go with me to that land. Come go with me to that land. Come go with me to that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. Where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound.
Thank you to Charlene Ball for the closing words. The Poet is the Unacknowledged Legislator of the World by Percy Shelley. This concludes our service.